Hi guys, it's ASBYT and this is the Mi 11 Ultra, Xiaomi's most expensive, most premium smartphone of 2021. But how does it stack up compared to the other big hitters in the Android space so far this year? The likes of the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, the OnePlus 9 Pro for example, and also, is it worth spending the extra money on the standard Mi 11? I've been using it on and off for the last couple of days, and these are my first fairly detailed impressions. And spoiler alert, this phone is incredible, intriguing, weird and wonderful all rolled into one. But it might just be the smartphone to beat right now. If a couple of things don't put you off, you'll see what I mean. And if you enjoy this sort of content, make sure you are subscribed to the channel with your notifications turned on, so every time I post, you are notified. Notified? Notiphone? Notified! What a good start to a video. Woohoo! So the first thing that jumps out at you is literally this massive camera rig at the back. It's not for the faint-hearted, that's for sure. The appearance will certainly not be for everyone, but what's under the monstrous bump is something pretty unique. But more on that and the overall camera experience a bit later. Elsewhere on the back you have the Xiaomi logo at the bottom, and the Mi 11 Ultra comes in either ceramic black, like I have here, or ceramic white. I personally would probably go with the ceramic black because I just think the camera bump blends in a little bit better on this model, because unfortunately on the white model the camera array is still black, so it does stand out quite a lot. Had that have been white, I may have actually preferred that model, but that's personal preference. If we flip to the front, we have a gigantic 6.81 inch 120Hz Quad HD Plus AMOLED display, and its peak brightness is 1700 nits, 200 more than the S21 Ultra. Crazy. The glass is also the strongest from Corning, Gorilla Glass Victus, so combined with the ceramic, it should be just about as durable as you can get on a premium smartphone right now. Punch hole cutout at the top left hand side, which I personally prefer to the center cutout, subjective of course, and this houses a 20 megapixel shooter, and I've got some examples of its performance in a second. And talking of performance, this is another area where this phone is an absolute beast. The high refresh rate, the max 12GB of RAM, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 chipset, the UFS 3.1 storage make the 11 Ultra a true Goliath. So spec for spec, this phone goes toe to toe with the very best. So the only real difference in determining how fast and smooth a phone feels at this level is of course software. And MIUI, the skin that Xiaomi create over the top of Android, has always been a bit of a mixed bag for me. Some great things and some things that bug me. MIUI 12.0.3 is what comes pre-installed here, but the all-new 12.5 will soon drop on the Mi 11 Ultra, and it definitely feels like an incremental step, but a fairly big one, and in the right direction. New animations have been introduced across the board, including new startup, sound, and power on and off ones, to name a few. You can opt to have your recent apps displayed in horizontal order now, more like stock, which I prefer, and one great new feature of 12.5 is you can remove and uninstall many of the pre-installed system apps, if you wish, to really cut down on bloatware, something that older MIUIs have definitely struggled with. I love the fact you can now swipe easily between your notifications, and settings pull-downs is far more seamless, and MIUI Plus, which is kind of Xiaomi's equivalent to Huawei Share, and you can seamlessly connect your Xiaomi phone to a Xiaomi laptop with screen mirroring, instant sharing of files, etc., and checking of messages and notifications. Now, a couple of the disadvantages of having such a chunky phone is, number one, its usability for one hand, and also its sheer weight. It's a pretty hefty device, but one of the advantages of it is the fact that you can fit a larger battery. 5000 mAh in here is the same capacity as in the S21 Ultra, and it really is an all-day it really is an all-day battery if you're an average user. I've been getting roughly around 5 hours of screen on time. It's okay, it gets me through the day fine. Not incredible. One thing to note, there is a special second screen on the camera module at the back, which we'll get to its uses in a second, but if you have this on, your battery will not last quite as long. The same can be said for the high refresh rate and resolution options. If you do run low on juice, thanks to its Quick Charge 4 Plus technology, and the 67-watt fast charger that comes in the box, the 11 Ultra will charge to 100% in just about 35 minutes, with fast wireless charging in around 40 minutes, which is some feat. I will be posting some more in-depth, detailed battery drain tests over on my Twitter and Instagram. If you're interested in that, go and follow me over there. So up to now, I'm sure you'll agree that this phone is pretty substantial indeed. It ticks a hell of a lot of boxes. But if you're going to be spending the extra cash on the Mi 11 Ultra over, say, the standard Mi 11, then chances are you're probably going to be doing it for those camera upgrades. So let's see exactly what we get with the absolutely mammoth camera module. Firstly, it's a triple camera setup, comprised of a 50 megapixel primary sensor, a 48 megapixel ultra-wide-angle lens, and a 48 megapixel periscope telephoto lens, with 5x optical zoom. The Mi 11 Ultra is also capable of 8K video at 24 frames per second, and 4K at a max of 60 frames per second. So there isn't the crazy higher frame rates of, say, 120 FPS that we've seen on some other flagships that are currently out right now, like the OnePlus 9 Pro, for example, but that will only really benefit you if you're going for the ultra high-end, high-speed action shots, or you wanted to slow down something in edit and wanted it to be ultra smooth. 60 frames per second is still pretty good for that. 120 frames per second is obviously better. That's the main real difference there. The overall camera scored 143 in DxOMark. Really, I think it's the best currently right now on that specific measuring system, and it excels in pretty much every area. It's a well-rounded rig. One thing I did notice, if you take a portrait shot of more than one focus point next to each other, like two people next to each other, and they are positioned at slightly differing distances to you, the Mi 11 Ultra is still able to keep the objects furthest away nice and sharp and in focus, where some other phones might struggle. Brilliant dynamic range, providing great details in both the bright and dark areas of the scene, both on the primary and ultra-wide lenses, and the zoom is pretty stable with excellent clarity early on, with only the furthest distances within the 120 times zoom range lacking in any real detail, which is to be expected. Now, Xiaomi will claim to be the best in this department, being 120 times zoom, higher than the 100, for example, in the S21 Ultra, but in reality, the offering from Samsung has 10 times optical zoom to the 5 times on here. So presumably you're actually going to get slightly sharper and better looking photos in those zoom ranges, as the Mi 11 Ultra will have to do more digital enhancement compensation due to the lack of the higher optical zoom. I did notice on portrait shots that the phone was able to snap some really nice sharp images with really nice natural background blur. I was impressed on most occasions by how well it dealt with moving subjects, keeping faces etc. nicely in focus, but I did notice there was a slight issue with the shutter button sometimes almost sticking. If you're taking more than a few photos in a row, it sometimes kind of freezes, and the processing of shots can also take a while as well. One advantage of the primary sensor is you can actually get some really nice depth of field, almost portrait feeling shots in standard photo mode as well, still maintaining a blurred background, and the processing seems to be a fair bit quicker. And now for the money shot. You can also use the rear lens for selfies etc. as well, if you want, thanks to this wicked little second display. It has been reused from the Xiaomi Mi Band 5 smart band, I believe, and it provides you with the ability to view time, set images of loved ones, get notification updates, and use it as a viewfinder to take selfies using the better quality rear camera. They could have just made the front camera, which is decent by the way, they could have made that just a little bit better so that you don't have to do sort of that. But I love the innovation and I'm really excited where they're going to go with this actual second display idea. And what about price? Well, there's nothing been confirmed as of right now, but we presume it's going to retail for £1,000 plus pounds, dollars, euros, in that sort of ballpark, putting it in direct competition with the S21 Ultra and the iPhone 12 Pro Max. I think everything considered, the Mi 11 Ultra is a monster of a phone in more ways than one. Cutting edge technology packed to the rafters with features, and it might just be the phone to beat right now, if they can get the price right and possibly just undercut Samsung and Apple. It will be expensive, but I think you get what you pay for. There's an ongoing narrative that smartphones are just simply too expensive now, and I kind of agree with that, but also disagree as well. There's no denying the mid-range sector with the sort of flagship killers have done really, really well over the last couple of years. The quality of those phones has increased dramatically while still being able to keep the price respectable, but there is still a market out there for those who want and can afford the very best. And even at the premium flagship level, phones have got incrementally better to the point that's just scary. Like, this phone can literally do everything. It's your TV, it's your camera, it's your console, it's your computer, all wrapped into one, and for the same price as each of those individually in certain cases. I hope this has helped you if you are interested in the phone, possibly looking to buy it. Comment below why you would like the Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra, and drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and make sure you're subbed to the channel if you love this sort of content. I love you and leave you. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
Do just what you want.